money gets and settles in there.
everything else that goes in with it. So we went last year, so I don't know.
Do you take the kids with you?
We don't know. Last year we dropped them off at my grandparents.
Yeah.
My grandma watched them.
Wow, that kid would be really educated.
So it was fun. It was nice to just be kid free for a little while.
I bet. Yeah, fun. Of course, that creates more kids. You have to be careful.
We don't have that problem anymore, so we don't have to worry about that.
Oh, nice. Nice. Then it is a vacation.
All you have to do is take your kids to downtown Moab right now. I tell you. Yeah, I saw something crossing the street today that was something I usually wouldn't see except for in Vegas.
Gee.
Yeah, it was a cold day and people were in shorts today.
It wasn't even just that.
It was a bikini.
There was more to it. There was more to it.
And then it was snowing in Arches.
Mhm.
When this was happening.
We are
We are on a delay, aren't we?
not really, actually. I
A
just,
little bit.
I mean, it's a tiny bit of a delay, but it's not. But I just double checked on my phone that everything's going.
Anybody in the waiting room at all?
Oh yeah, I should probably go back.
Nick was.
Yeah, Nick's in.
Well, we got about a 30-second delay, it looks like. There's Nick. Hey, Nick.
Hello.
Oh, and Sarah.
Yeah,
Should I hit all the buttons?
we get to the appropriate section of the meeting.
I don't think Chad was leaving for his trip until tomorrow or Friday, so.
Oh, you summoned him.
There's Chad. Now
Oh,
we're just
there he
waiting
is.
on Mary.
No, it's fine.
But I guess we at least have a quorum now.
Yeah, we have a
can go ahead.
quorum now. We're just worried about a quorum.
But there's nothing really to, well, just a minute. So we can vote on.
You had to say Chad. You couldn't say that person with a big bag of money, wasn't it?
What, money bags? Is that my new nickname?
He said your name and you appeared. I said you couldn't have said somebody with a big bag of money walking in.
You literally came through the door.
I saw your text. Kevin.
Yeah,
Nancy,
I didn't know if you were zooming or what.
with the Phone, I still have a minute to spare.
Oh, but
Yes.
we're
So
in
no, for
Moab
sure
town,
Caitlin's
so
not
we
gonna
got
be
you
here.
on
Yeah.
Oh, no.
there.
I do know.
It is.
Subscribe. Although sometimes I click.
No word from Mary yet.
When it's convenient, right?
Yes. At least I'm not on this year.
Now, wait a
Hey,
minute.
he was actually early
I was
today.
early.
That's not on the record. I'll make that
Hello.
when it's on the record.
On the record.
Thanks.
No, I'll walk it on the way out here. We have all the board members and stuff here.
You should look at your shirt.
So
All right,
Chad,
sounds good.
Chad gave me the shirt yesterday. It
And
says,
then there's,
if
you're
you
gonna
know
keep that
me-
truck to service it, right?
What does it say on the back?
You're not from around.
Okay.
Don't know me.
Oh my God.
I'll just shoot Ron a text telling them, hey, let them take it tomorrow, because they'll see it sitting out and they'll be all excited and want to take it, so.
That's right. That's
Okay.
right. I wore it today.
Sounds good, appreciate it, man. All right, thanks.
I'm close to needing one, not quite.
Yes.
I've had that happen to me a couple of times. People are like, you don't know who I am, and I'm like,
No.
hi.
So since I'm the chair today, let's
Uh-oh.
get this meeting rolling, baby. Kayla's not here. I think we'll call the meeting to order. Sound good?
Now we're good.
Call the meeting to order at 4:01. Do we have any citizens to be heard?
Yes, sir. Net.
Let's see, she's still not. Video's not live. Sarah, are you there?
She's muted.
Hi, Sarah. Are
Can you
there?
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes, we can.
Sorry about that.
Go ahead. You're first on the list here. Oh, we just lost you. Come on back.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, that was definitely user error. I'm sorry. I didn't know if did you start the meeting yet?
Yes, we just barely started, so you're first on the docket.
Okay. I just wanted to say hey, and I wanted to shout out to Mike. I've had a couple really good meetings with him, and this past year was year 19 at Potato Salad Hill. It's a project that's been extremely time intensive, and new sheriff, a new CSWA director. I wasn't sure how it would go, but there was a couple hiccups, but Mike made everything right away. He took a lot of care to it, and it was one of the most successful years we've had over there. So hats off to Mike and the crew. I just wanted to do a quick Earth Year report. I'm very grateful for the CRC, the 32 years of blood, sweat, and tears that made it what it is now. And I wanted to explain why it's so important to me. And I know there's been a little bit of interest in the recycling I'm doing for the mark, but I've recycled for the mark way back in the early 2000s, and I've recycled at the ballpark in the early 2000s for several years. But currently I'm doing 8 bins at Lions Park, 1 at the post office, 1 at the sheriff's office, 1 at the Beauty Towers, 1 at Dave's Corner Market, 1 at Rotary, 1 at the Gonzo on the Parkway, 1 at the Bike Jump, 1 at Zions Bank, and a system I installed at the Mark. The Mark system was intended for the staff to be able to easily move the items from the recycle bins I provided to the single stream bin, but there was not much of an interest in maintaining those. So I've just been going in a couple times a week, grabbing the stuff and just taking it to the center. I check the ball field trash cans, and I pull any recycling out of those and put them in the single stream bins because we'd like to see stuff get recycled. I'm going to talk to the parks director about a whole redo over there, because the bins over there are actually meant for residential single stream. They're not as friendly for a park like that. So I want to see if there's some way we can reconfigure that, get the kids more involved and make it more of a thing. So I just wanted to say I'm very grateful for the center. I'm grateful for Mike and his great cooperative attitude. And I'm looking forward to a beautiful year in the garden. Thank you. Now I got to run to Lions Park right now and check my 8 bins. So I got to hang up now. See you guys.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you so
Sarah.
much.
Yeah.
And thank you, Mike, for jumping on it when
So
you
what
were
was
there.
Potato Hill?
Potato Salad Hill. It's part of the Jeep Safari.
Big
So
blind.
that was what did she?
She sets up
Oh,
a series of
recycle.
bins there,
Oh, I see.
and there was a lot of new people involved, and we didn't have the dumpster in the right place or where she wanted it, so we had to get out there. But we were the first one to get it where it was supposed to be. The other ones were way behind us. We were first and foremost.
Great, great.
So
Good
that's
job.
just Sarah. That's not set up through the county or the city or any of that permitting for the.
Well, it's kind of great because the sheriff's department actually pays for the trash dumpster. Why, I don't really know, but that's the way it is.
But they weren't trash dumpsters. They were Sarah's.
Sarah set out her recycled
Mhm.
containers
Okay.
and we had the one for the trash.
Okay.
And I haven't been, but it's quite the scene evidently.
You should have gone. You should have gone.
It's kind of like a initiation to get witnesses.
Yeah,
Good
that's
people
right.
watching.
Because it's big or because it's just so unique? Other
It's-
way?
Because it's crazy.
It's an
It's
interesting
not
thing.
as crazy as it used to be.
No,
Yeah.
it's
No.
definitely not.
It's
as
not.
crazy as
Bike
it is.
race?
No, it's just the hill where people drive up with their Jeeps.
Oh,
and-
Jeeps. I
Yeah, it's
see.
part of the Jeep Safari.
But like people just gather and
It's an unorganized, organized event.
Yeah.
Nobody claims it as part of the official safari, but it happens every year.
It originally was
Right.
part of
It was
Hell's
originally.
Revenge. It was the start of Hell's Revenge
Right.
originally. And then it got changed, but
And then it got changed. Yeah, exactly.
It just got a little out of hand, I think, and so they did some restrictions. There was a year where you couldn't go, right?
Right.
There was at least one year you couldn't go to Potato Salad.
Now they shut it down right at sundown or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they try and get the people out at sundown. They, I mean, you missed the years when 3 or 4 jeeps would roll down the hill. and
I've
go.
never seen a roll. I'm disappointed.
Oh, I've seen you there.
I've heard the stories.
Is it worth putting in the record the story of how it got to be named potato salad?
Go ahead,
I
Chad.
don't know that.
Oh.
I can't claim that it's,
No,
I've heard that somebody lost their cooler full of, their cooler and a bunch of potato salad spilled out. I don't know if that's true.
That is true.
It was you. It was
It was
Levi.
not me. I may have gone over a few times there, but I did not have potato salad in there.
In the cooler. Well, the Ravens had a feast that day. Very good. Any more citizens to be heard?
No, and we've not
That
received
was a good
any.
tangent. We're on a roll today. already.
talk about getting off base early.
Could you go ahead and pull the minutes up on the screen?
Our first approval or our first
So you go to the
action
common
item is
folder. Go.
review and
Right,
approval
it's
of the
right there.
March
It's- yeah.
15 to 2023 regular meeting minutes.
Agenda, yeah.
Oh,
That'll
yeah,
be
she
the
had it
second.
already pulled up.
Yep.
But she already had pulled it up, I think, right?
I reviewed them.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't see anything that was really off on it.
I mean, I looked at them, but I
Oh,
don't
wait, no,
have
this is the old one.
numbers for those,
Yeah.
if we're gonna vote on
There they are.
budget or whatever.
There's the minutes.
If anybody wanted to view the minutes, they should be up there as well for you. These are last meeting's minutes that we're
Yes.
reviewing.
Yeah, I didn't see anything.
So I have a comment, but last time we voted first and then we commented later. Which comes.
Well, we can ask for approval of it. We can ask for approval,
Motion and then
a motion to approve the minutes. Can we discuss?
Okay.
So I'll. do
I
have
make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, Diane made the motion.
I second that.
Chad seconded. And discussion.
And now, I don't mean to pick on the note taker there, but under the board share, Diane shared last time, and I can leave these with you, Jessica. It says she will be offering composting workshops at Youth Garden Project. That's true. But then something like you need to strike as well as hosting the Castle Valley cleanup in April. I didn't host the cleanup, but I was part of a pre-cleanup education outreach. And then the second thing, it says she stated she had worked with the library to repurpose 5-gallon buckets. Well, strike, she had worked with the library, because I didn't work with the library, but I did repurpose 5-gallon buckets to bring awareness to the 3 R's workshop, reduce, reuse, recycle. And that was, again, just part of an educational outreach thing to show and tell. And I actually have that bucket show and tell tonight to show people so we can understand it a little better. And basically in Castle Valley, people, I've been there now twice, and people just throw very, very things that have lots of life left in them. And it makes me just cringe and lose sleep. And so they allow, if you're willing to volunteer, they allow you to make a little stack of whatever you think you need. And it's amazing. I'm going to try to work with some other groups because they just throw out wood like you wouldn't believe. 2x6s, longer than pickup trucks, bunches of them. We're talking. And so I just dropped off some stuff at Community Rebuilds. And I asked them, I said, if you would want to be a volunteer next year, you can come and I won't have to be here offloading stuff to you. And so we'll see how that goes. But it makes me just really upset. And, all the education in the world. And while we were chatting on the Facebook page, because I had a helper this year that did Facebook and word got around, but recycling and reduce and reuse is as it was stated in an article in the newspaper about Rosalind McCain up at USU. It's human behavior. It's a change of human behavior, and it's really hard to do. But anyway, I'm happy to do it. And here's the, if she needs that, that's just some of the stuff that,
So the changes you'd like to see in the meeting minutes are that, those two, I think it was 2 items?
Yeah.
Okay. And with those changes, do you still approve the?
I
minutes?
approve the changes
Okay,
to those minutes.
and you would second that?
Sure, yeah, I still second it.
All right. Well, then with those changes being made, can we have a vote on the, yes, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Aye, so passed with approval of all 3 board members. And now, any more discussion on that? Good, you're good. Now we can go to reports from the board and staff. So first up, Mike.
Alrighty. I'll try not to ramble too much here. It's been quite the month.
Welcome to Moab.
Well, it was kind of a, I don't want to say an awakening month, but yeah, it was by far the hardest month yet out of the 3. Several times I wondered what I was doing in Utah, but
Fish, remember that?
fish, yes, I did catch my first trout this month.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I'm already veered. So it was frustrating in some ways. It's all a learning process. Overall, with all the ups and downs we had, I felt like the team grew closer together. We had some unexpected illnesses. Savannah was out for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Jessica had to help with billing.
Thanks for stepping in, Jessica.
Yes, definitely. Everybody, LJ was her normal whirlwind self, but with coffee in her. It was crazy. She really had to work hard on a lot of stuff, and a lot of it I couldn't help with yet because I don't know the process. But I felt overall we adapted, we grew as a team, as a management team. Taking that into effect, I'm really trying to take our wins where we can get them. If you did not know it, we did purchase a trailer for the CRC this month. Instead of renting and paying transportation costs, we went ahead and purchased it so we can do it on our own time when it fits. We have the drivers that can transport it to Salt Lake City. So this trailer will pay for itself inside a year and a half, give or take.
Excellent.
So this is mixed commodities?
This
One
is
trailer?
just the CRC materials. We were renting a trailer. It was sitting over at the CRC, $350 a month, and then 700 plus every time we hauled it.
Mhm.
This was approximately 16,000, give or take.
16,500.
16,500.
Not bad.
So, it'll easily pay for itself within 2 years.
Mhm.
So I view that as some pretty low hanging fruit that only makes sense from a business standpoint.
You bet.
That was approved in a meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
It's sitting outside here if you guys want to see it.
Yes.
It's a good looking trailer.
I saw that.
Proud of it.
It's used. We've got Jessica working on some sort of decal for the sign. It's gonna be a rolling billboard, basically.
Nice.
That was Levi's thought.
Good job.
And I was like, you're absolutely right. We'll get that. So that's a win. That's just-
53 foot of let's recycle.
It's a
Yes.
business move, but it also, it just makes efficiency. We don't have to wait on the company. We move it when we're ready.
Mhm.
I'll just give you a brief of some of the things I've done this month. I did meet with Chris Baird from the county. So I initiated that relationship. He helped explain the CIB system to me of loans and whatnot. I'm far from an expert on this yet, but he helped get that going. That's a possibility of some funding in the future. We had 4 projects on the list. We still have 3, so we're still at least on the list for in the future. It's kind of a time-consuming application, 3 times a year. But our possible projects are an upgrade at the CRC, scales and water at the Moab landfill, and then a long overdue road upgrade at Klondike.
Mhm.
Those are the three biggies.
Yeah.
Chris and I continue to meet and discuss plans for the landfills. We did just get our elevations back from our survey, which is huge, because that's, you know, the aerial pictures tell us how well we're compacting using the airspace and also how much space we really have left.
Mhm.
We just got that back this week. That'll really help us to see where we're at and gauge the future and what needs to be done. I met with Sarah a couple times, as she mentioned, basically going over the history of the CRC. We also, you know, discussed single stream and drop off and the way they can complement each other, or the pros and the cons of both. I mentioned I experienced Jeep Safari for the first time. Interesting. Maybe next year I'll really dip my toe in. Been involved with LJ, sitting in on the implementation of the new software. Mostly sitting in and listening. I do have some history with their previous version, but this is all new. It's really gonna bring us up to the 21st century, whatever you wanna call it, especially for billing purposes and tracking and things like this, to make sure we're getting the revenue we're supposed to. Like any IT thing, it's taken longer than expected or hoped, and there will be some bumps in the road. But once we get through it and get adjusted to it, it's gonna be a major upgrade.
Mhm.
A lot less pieces of paper flying around as far as scheduling the trucks and whatnot, let alone the whole billing thing.
Mhm.
Going along with that, Levi is getting the tablets, which is part of the system. Each driver will have a tablet in the truck. This gives instantaneous feedback, or nearly instantaneous, I should say, between the office and the driver. He can take pictures. But even more importantly, not even more importantly, but just as important, we're gonna be using it for pre-trip and post-trip. Especially as we look to get new vehicles, we wanna make sure the drivers are checking the oil, checking the air,
Mhm.
checking the hydraulics, which is a constant battle. It really is, but the tablets will give an electronic record of whether they did it or not. Once again, less pieces of paper flying all over the place. I turned it in, that type of thing.
Right.
Plus, we'll, with the pre and post trip, the drivers will be able to get used to having the tablet around before the rollout.
Mhm.
Um,
So they're gonna be doing the checking and stuff pre and post.
With the tablet.
When they get the tablet, and then we're gonna incorporate it into the routes.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
Well, good. That's the place to start. Yeah.
The new system will give turn-by-turn directions for the drivers, which will help with flexibility. Right now, not every driver knows every route. They probably never will,
Mhm.
because it's nearly impossible to do the training. Speaking of the drivers, we did hire 2 new drivers since our last meeting, and as of today, we had 2 leave in the last week. This has caused a tremendous amount of creativity and planning in order to get the right driver with the right truck on the right route. It's not as simple as it sounds. Like I said, not everybody knows every route. There are hidden spots that only that driver knows. Well, no, you gotta turn around that guy's drive, or you're gonna blah, blah, blah. That leads us into driver availability. Continue. I don't see this ever changing. We're in a rural area, we're in a smaller town, where the economic conditions, we've just got a very small pool of people to draw on to be drivers. Not everybody's cut out to be a driver,
Mhm.
plain and simple, mentally or physically. You add in having to have a CDL, that makes the pool even smaller. So as you might remember, the board last month gave us permission to go ahead and spend $500,000 towards new trucks out of the bond. Something the three of us put our heads together and we're looking to get another under CDL truck as one of those. Kind of unconventional, but as close as we are to the transfer, it's not as big an issue as if they were traveling 35, 40 miles to get to the landfill. One less hurdle to go through.
Right.
These trucks don't require CDLs. They're a little larger than a half. Basically, our recycle truck is an under CDL.
Mhm.
We're gonna add to that to the fleet. We're very close to ordering those trucks. Hopefully, we'll decide that in the morning, actually. And if we get, I won't say this, we're hoping to get two that are ready to go to be delivered as we speak.
Nice.
We'll see. If not, then at least one of them for sure will probably be delivered, and then the other one will be on the waiting list. I mentioned funding and financial security. It's no secret. You know, we're not on. We've got a mass amount of modernization to do, and that takes capital. The acquisition of Monument changed the whole dynamics of the district here. And we're just fully understanding it to a degree. So I asked Nick to work up a slideshow. Nick, if you can hear me, it's in a common file, Jessica.
It's already up.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's right
There we
there.
go.
I'm staring at it. Duh. Thank you. Anyway, this is just a simple step-by-step of where our funding and revenue comes from on a monthly or quarterly basis, when we receive it versus our expenses and our debt. The first few are pretty straightforward. We don't have to spend much time on them. If you can read that, basically, it's just explaining that our collection revenue comes from certain places.
Mhm.
Commercial, residential, roll-off, and recycle, the four services that we provide. The landfill revenue. Here's the big dynamics that changed. Previously, we had I'm sorry.
No, I thought you wanted me to go.
No. We had a tremendous amount of third-party landfill. Well, now we're the third party.
Right.
We're hauling our own to the landfill. So this is all intercompany revenue. So our revenue went way up,
Mhm.
but obviously our expenses did too.
Mhm.
It didn't mean our profitability went up just because now we're getting a lot more money in each month. Same thing with the transfer station. We're our biggest customer by far.
Mhm.
You can go ahead. When the computer decides.
There you go. Come back alive.
Sorry.
Yep. Like I said, transfer the same situation. We do add in some scrap metal, but that's not a continuous amount. That's once or twice a year where we get some funding from that.
Right.
Recycle center, same thing. By far, we're our biggest customer. We do get some third-party commodities, obviously, which is great. But the OCC is by far the largest amount of material that goes through there.
Right.
And I can barely read that myself, I'll be honest. Basically, it's the other revenue. This is the area I want everybody to kind of learn with me as we go.
Mhm.
I should have printed off a copy myself. Darn it.
No, I didn't screen share that. If you don't-
Mineral lease.
Hold on, I just realized it.
Thank you, Jessica.
I wasn't sharing the screen so people couldn't see it.
Oh.
No, now they can see it.
Okay. I'm gonna actually walk up there because I can't see it.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, I should have printed this off. And Nick, feel free to jump in whenever.
Okay.
And like I said, Nick put this together, which I really appreciate.
Right.
The other revenue, this is basically mineral money and Grand County money.
Transfer and
This
tax. Yeah.
does not come in on a weekly or monthly, some of it's quarterly. The things we have to jump through, so to speak, but there are two types of revenue from mineral lease. We've got the allocation from the county for the TRT, the tax revenue money. We have interest revenue, which comes off the PTIF, PTEF, and our bank accounts.
Mhm.
Out of that, we've got to fund post-closure on both landfills. We've also got to build capital towards our debt and anything we might want to buy. And then we've got our normal checking and savings accounts, basically. But once again, this comes in at different times, at different levels, and only so much. So we got several small little pieces coming in. Jessica, if you would, please. This breaks it down basically to, and darn it, this isn't the latest version. I must have sent the wrong one. That's my fault. Bottom line, this is the income that comes in. A big chunk of it is roll off, and the county, I believe that was like 287,000 a month approximately, Nick. I don't know if you have that in front of you or not.
If you want, yeah, this is the slide that has the third party on it. If you wanted to go to the, let's see, the slide number 9, it's the external.
Are we on page 11 already? No. So go forward one more.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the outside. All right.
There
this
we
is
go.
the one. This is one.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
13, 10K, yeah.
Bottom line, 335,000 a month from collection. That's residential, that's commercial, that's OCC cardboard. Our major expense towards that is obviously labor, fuel, and repairs.
Mhm.
That's not all expenses. Those are the major ones that we have to deal with on a major amount each month. So revenue less expense, we are approximately 227,000 a month on the positive side. You go over to the landfill, because so much of this is internalized now.
Mhm.
You got total revenue of 30, you got total expenses of almost 54. So we're in the hole there. Transfer station, same situation. Third-party revenue is only $6,000 a month at this transfer station. The rest, we're basically paying ourselves. So you take out payroll, fuel, and repairs, -35. Recycle center, same situation. We do make about $6,000, which is about as much as the transfer station.
Wow.
But payroll benefits, boom, we're in the hole, $9,000.
That's a month, per month.
Exactly. And these are approximate figures, don't hold them. I know some of them are allocated. I think some of our payroll is allocated to the wrong cost center,
Sure,
but the overall figure is going to be the same.
yeah.
And also these are basically based off of 2022 numbers. So with the price increases that were effective January 1st and then also March 1st, you're going to see some improvement in the revenue and improvement in the
Yeah,
deficit on certain areas.
that's the collection revenue.
Right.
Most all of it will be under the collection revenue. Next one, please. The part of this that previous slide didn't show is our debt.
Mhm.
The bond, the 3 cats and the BOMAG. These are all equipment that you need to operate. So we really need to be setting aside nearly 96,000 a month to make these payments.
Right,
So you saw a positive overall, but it wasn't taking into account debt and additional overhead and additional expenses. It is what it is. I'm just putting it out there to make sure everybody understands it, or at least can conceptualize it, I guess you might say. Nick, anything you want to say about this one?
Just that we're in the initial amounts there on the left is when those debts were incurred. Some of these were, possibly midstream into the debt service. So I just wanted to let you see the original debt level, and then the key thing here is the annual debt service column. Those are the amounts that need to go out at fixed times during the year. The bond, we have to fund that in May and in November. in May, which is coming up next month, it's the principal and interest portion. And then in November, it's just the interest portion. That's the way it works each year. Full amount in May and just interest in November. The three cats, you've got payment timeframes. Two of those we pay twice a year, and then one of the D7 looks like will be once a year in January. And then also the BOMAG is once a year in January. So the monthly cash set aside is taking that annual debt service and divided it by 12. And so that's the monthly amount that needs to be set aside in the PTIF account. So that money is there when these payment timeframes come up in May, November, April, the various dates that are listed there. In addition, there's some balloon payments that will happen. The earliest one is 2 years from now, at the end of the CAT 140 debt service. There's a balloon payment, so it's whether we would pay that out or maybe finance it further out from there. And that's the case with the three cats. There's some balloon payments at the end of the note that would need to be taken care of it in those timeframes.
And just like our revenue, it's not like we're paying, $1,000 a month, like rent or whatever. These come in certain times of the year, these
Sure.
payments. And just like our revenue, it's not just because it's in the budget doesn't mean it's in the bank.
Right.
Were you gonna say?
Obviously, the big piece there is the bond payment, that annual debt service. It's going to be in about 950 range for the next couple years. I think it's 2027, it'll drop down to 915. That's an 18-year bond, and we're in the third year of it. So, but this is kind of what it looks like right now, at least for the immediate future. We're at that 954 level of debt service on the bond for the next 2 years at least.
But Nick, aren't we close to paying off one, like the Cat 98, I think? Aren't we close to paying that one off?
Let's see. Well, 2028, so there's still 5 more years on it.
What about the Cat 140? It says 2025.
Yeah, so we got two and a half years left on that, then, and also the balloon payment. So if you look at the original debt amount of 185, we're paying off annually just over maybe 50% of that. Then there's the balloon payment at the end.
What about the BOMAG?
That one, let's see. Yeah, I don't have let's see, I think, 54,000. I'll have to look at my schedule. I don't have it in front of me, but yeah, that one we might be nearing.
I think that might be the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, because that's once a year. So we've probably paid 3 times. So 150. So that, yeah, there's probably 2 years left on that.
Okay.
Let me look that up.
Those are all very essential pieces of equipment right there
Oh.
we're looking at.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Chris could spend the next hour explaining it, I'm sure. But you've got to have a compactor if you really want to be efficient. And you've got to have a bulldozer to move dirt around
Yep.
As you're excavating.
Yeah,
Either an excavator, one or the other.
Right.
the BOMAG, we've got a payment in 2024 and then a payment in 2025, and then that one's over. So there's 2 years left on that.
Okay.
That's good to know. Alrighty. Oh, yeah, it's changed. So to boil it down to numbers that are relatable, you can talk billions of dollars, but at the end of the month, we have about $64,000. And you've got to have capital set aside
Yeah.
plus additional expenses. And remember, this revenue, like the county money, it comes in 4 times a year. So it's all over the place. We're gonna try and working on some sort of graph to show you the income on a monthly basis. And you can see where it's doing this.
Yeah, this summary slide is just factoring the operational external revenue. and major expenses. So this does not reflect the TRT money or the interest. So this is us. If you just put your blinders on and say, okay, we're out there collecting trash, this is kind of the average picture that we're presenting right here.
Right.
I like to say that this is what you have to really spend
Yeah.
if you were writing checks for everything ourselves. But, you know, it's good that we're where we're at, we're paying the bills. But in this economy and with the aging of the equipment, it can easily be an argument that we're losing ground, that we're treading water and it's raining. I don't want to paint a bleak picture, but I want people to understand where we're at.
Yeah.
It pretty much sum it up well, Nick. What do you think?
Yeah. Again, these are based off of 2022 averages, and so there is a little kicker with the price increases that happened in January and March. And as we get further in the year, we'll see the impacts of that additional revenue.
Right.
There's so many additional expenses that aren't even mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna be looking at engineering expenses. You've got to have an engineer sign off on your plans so you can go to DEQ with it. And both landfills permits are up in the next couple of years.
Right.
So all kinds of things like that aren't even on here. These are just, okay. Chad, you look like you're perplexed.
No, I'm not. I just had a few things go through my mind, but no,
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
But all this leads me to,
State of continual perplex.
I've had that this month. I have. The whole reason I wanted to share that with you is to further explain the RFP that we're putting out. To find a financial consultant, basically, that specializes in municipalities and bonds and whatever. Everything's on the table as far as options. But we need some sort of financial expert to go. Long-term, this is your best, your ability to pay off your debt, pay your bills, and have 180 days worth of cash in the bank.
Yeah.
Reserves.
And put money away to continue to buy equipment when we need to.
Exactly.
To look to the future, to be able to get new trucks every couple of years as opposed to every decade.
Yes.
So you're at about 64K a month now in the black. Where would you like to be? Do you have an idea?
Wow, I haven't, I can't say that I've gone that far. I'm still grasping where we're at.
You don't know where, there's not a magic number that would make you comfortable.
I cannot, I would not want to throw a number out. I would not want to throw a number out. Mainly because we have such capital expenses that we're facing.
Right.
The transfer station needs some work. The loaders, we've got to decide what to do there. We're replacing 2 of the trucks, but that doesn't count the roll-offs. I could talk about our roll-offs forever.
Our museum pieces.
Tell the story, Levi. Just happened today.
The dinosaurs.
Tell the story, Levi.
So Elliott Equipment, I'm looking to buy new trucks and stuff. So I've been talking with a bunch of different companies and stuff. Elliott Equipment came around. Elliott Equipment is a nationwide company, very big company who sells tons of used and new equipment across the country. They have multiple locations, everything. So their rep comes here today, and I'm trying to explain to them about our little roll-off trucks that we have
Right.
and the system that we use. And he's having a hard time grasping what I'm talking about. So it's him and his parts guy that's with him, and we go out and we look at it, and you just thought I took them out to see a museum piece. They were so excited to see this truck. They've never seen one of these before. They've read about these and heard about these, but they've never seen one like this before. So they are, you know, where's the rollers on it? How does it roll up on here? They're just very perplexed of how this truck is still here and how it works. And I'd come in and tell Mike that story. I said, well, we're running some museum stuff. Does that make you feel better? And he decided it did not make him feel better.
We charge admission?
We thought about it being in the
Well, you
museum.
also got to think about the average age of those 2 people that came to look at it. I mean, were they over 50? Probably not.
The one guy was probably mid-50s and the other guy was in his early thirties, probably, I would say,
So,
so.
you know, we all know that older materials in this country are well-made and new stuff. So I don't know, I'm just kind of in the middle with all this conversation.
I agree, I just thought it was funny that these guys
Yeah.
hadn't seen one before, and this is what they do, is they sell these trucks, you know, and
You know,
so.
what scares me is when you guys start talking about you can't even buy parts. Now, that's the part that,
Yeah.
you know,
But
that's worrisome.
I guess that's where we're headed. The older it gets, the more parts you gotta buy, the harder the
Right.
parts there are. Even the really well-made trucks will break down, especially when they're,
When they bounce down the roads of Moab for 30 years,
I mean, what are they,
Not just
93s?
Moab.
I mean, our two little roll-offs are 1991s.
Wow.
So literally they're 30+ years old.
Yeah.
So what was your goal to get out of these two people? Did you get anything out of them or?
So they're supposed to be looking for us some cabin chassis to figure out, because we still have to run that 2 system for now.
Mhm.
Just because to switch all to one is quite an expense.
If you don't,
Somebody didn't show up with a ton of money to fix that.
if you don't quite understand, we actually have 2 different types of lifting systems. One for the bigger truck and one for the smaller truck. So you can't send them to the same customer. And you gotta make sure you're sending the right truck to the right container.
Right.
And the smaller trucks aren't nearly as durable or can lift as much as the larger trucks. And basically, you've got 2 systems and it shoots your efficiency.
So everybody has gone to a standardized system across the United States. So you can go buy containers and stuff anywhere, and it'll fit on any of these trucks.
Yes. Yeah.
Ours, that's why we had to have the containers that we have being built,
Yeah.
specially built just for our system, because a normal container will not fit on it. So we weren't able to go buy used containers. We had to build new ones because nobody makes our system. So,
Right.
Anymore.
Which is an added
Yeah.
expense.
Mhm.
Yes.
so it's kind of a bad thing, because if a truck is in Needles and delivers a 30-yard down to Needles, and spends all the time to drive all the way down there, and there's a 20-yard sitting next to it,
Yeah.
he can't pick
You
that
can't
container
pick
up.
that,
He has to come
yeah.
all the way back here, get a little truck and go all the way back.
Well,
So-
that's the efficiency we want to work on. you know.
Exactly.
But when we did the math on, I can't remember how many containers, there's a lot of containers out there that you'd have to switch, and
Uh-huh.
that expense grows
Uh-huh.
very fast.
Slow process. I think it was in the $200,000 range, and it would take us a couple of years to convert them all.
Right, right.
Once again, shooting yourself in the foot with efficiency while you're doing that. But the consultant is working up the RFP as we speak, and then we'll be putting that on the street and see what kind of response we get and ideas that we can come up with to make things a little more sound and solid and build to that financial security that we really want, that we all want.
Yeah. And I'm sure you told them that we have a car show next weekend that will show you as many classic cars that.
I did. I tried to, sell them on that idea. And I tried to sell Mike on the idea that maybe we'll just get some older trucks and we'll run this museum and we'll have a classic deal. But
That's right, boy, it's classic car, classic truck shop.
yeah, classic garbage truck, deal down here. We'll just.
So we may get the parts. Well,
But I think that's the end of my report. I apologize for going so long, but I
No.
really wanted to get that onto the table.
very informative. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions, you guys?
I'll try to think of the number.
Well, as you gather more information, I think your number might be more, visible, at this point,
I've got to, I want to get stuff done. I've got to slow down and plan this out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And find the best answers. We do. But that's the end of my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chris?
Let's see what I got. We've been inspected with the DEQ at all facilities, over the last month. All inspections went, really well.
I would say better than that. I would say glowing reviews. I think
Yeah,
The letter, they send us each a
the
letter.
the
confirming it.
DEQ is glowing. I'm not so much, I found. some
Yes,
stuff, but-
yes, I agree. 100%.
But I guess they're the ones that count, so.
That's
We
right.
Made the state happy.
Good, good.
I also went with Jessica to the Recycle Coalition of Utah convention. some of the big takeaways for that, for me, was they went over some new rules and regulations as far as, I won't bore you guys with them. A lot of it was changing some of the terminologies in solid waste and dealing with different ways of like, for example, they're trying to change, gosh, I'm not even sure how to put it, but recycling, basically, because they're trying to promote advanced recycling. Is that the terminology, wasn't it? Advanced. So that was one of them. Another one was the reporting, how we report. And I think we were already kind of a little bit ahead of that. They've added another layer to that that we'll figure out. I did meet somebody there that was from metal recycling, and he ended up after that coming and stopping by and giving us an audit on our recycling pile. And he had some excellent ideas to move forward in the future on how we could make a lot more money, how we could spend less money trying to get rid of it, and how we can control it better over time. Unfortunately, we just have a lot on our plate right now, and it's not something that we're going to implement anytime soon. But I mean, the quantities of metal we recycle just dwarf anything, any other type of recycling the district does. So it's pretty exciting, some of the directions I think will go in the future.
And that's because we got a lot of metal coming in. I mean, we just have a lot of people changing things out here. What is that? Why are we having so much metal? I just, because we're a central location for such a large area?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's part of it. Actually, we generate a small amount of metal. So it looks big to us because there's a big pile out there, but he did comment on the size of your metal pile wasn't that big, and he offered better ways to handle it because we're so close to like Grand Junction or Salt Lake. So in the past, we brought balers in, and it's a huge expense to bring balers in, when there's other ways where we can just, even with, we're trying to figure out a new, something to do with our 40 yards. Monument Waste had purchased the 40 yards to handle our recycling, where we're not handling that anymore. So we might be able just to load our metal up in 40 yards and just ship it over to Pacific Steel or Metro. I can't, no, not Metro, there's another one over there. But anyways, it would let us handle the pile more efficiently, so we don't have to let it grow to such enormous things. And then, because I think when they come out there, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks, and it's a huge operation. And if we could just handle it better, we separated into a couple of different piles, we could maximize our profit. And it's, the numbers he were giving me were pretty impressive. So, I mean, he kind of talked himself out of a client on trying to do it, but he was passionate about what he did. So I appreciate him stopping by.
Great.
And I think that's all I got.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we could, that metal pile is an amazing pile, but you're right, separating that out and putting,
I have a question. At the cleanup this weekend, the people there that were loading the metals container were, had said that they could just put aluminum in there. And I looked at them and I said, I don't think so. And they go, well, it's metal. I go, well, I don't think so. But anyway, they were leaving it off to the side and maybe put it in at the end. So that, but was I correct that you can't mix aluminum? That's what we have, those little magnets up there at the CRC. You can't put that in with the metal cans. Is that the way it works?
So, yeah, so the reason why we do it at the CRC is just it's sort of separated. So they're specific. This is a certain type of scrap metal pile, and you can throw everything in there, and then they treat it on the other end. But that's part of how we can improve our the amount of profit that we make by it. If we separate out the different types, and you don't have to, I mean, you can go as crazy as you want, but with just separating out in 2 or 3 different piles, and that would be one of them, would be taking the aluminum out of it.
I want you to know there were some men out there the other day at the cleanup. They were taking their knives and cutting off that canvas or whatever that plastic material is on those lawn chairs, because they were afraid that they were going to get nicked. It was more than 75% or something like that. And I'm like, these guys are really into that metal.
And you can be, and the more you're, and that's kind of what, like the guy that came by, that's what he does, is he takes these piles, and that's where he makes his profit, is he's able to segregate it out and refine it down to where he's maximizing his profit on every different type of metal, rather than us in the past where we just pile it in one big thing. And that's, I mean, it's worked and it does work, but I think there's some efficiencies we can do in the future when we get some time.
Right.
You're absolutely right. That to recycle them, they have to be separated, but it's just kind of like single stream, the metal all together, and then the steel and metal places separated out later.
And you wonder why I like source separated. It goes right over to the metals too.
There are so many different grades of metal and paper. If you knew, it's just amazing. But you're right, as far as the actual process, they do have to be separated.
One question I have for Chris and for Jessica. So you went to this recycling. What's the future of recycling plastics? Is there any, I mean, we know cardboard's great, you know, metal's great, we know aluminum, we want to bring it in, but.
Well, and I
plastics?
was gonna to bring this up. So Bo, everyone knows Bo. He did a
Yes.
presentation there, and his presentation was kind of to refute the EPA, Greenpeace's, over the last year, I think even going in Salt Lake, there's signs that says recycling plastic is a myth. I mean, plastic has just gotten hit hard lately. So part of his presentation was kind of to refute some of
Oh,
that.
good.
And I mean, he threw out some statistics. I guess I should have grabbed them, but a lot of it is pretty positive. So like the plastics that we do recycle, I think he said close to 70% of the plastics that are recycled are number one bottles and number two.
Right. Number one.
Okay, but out of that, we actually now, and this has been a slow increase, 92% of those plastics are recycled, we are doing domestically now. Where if you remember what happened with China and us just being able to load shipping containers, and it was just like free money. Here's all of our crap, give us your money. Well, that came to a stop. And then, but what had happened is a lot of the domestic mills stopped doing the recycling. And so this just goes to show that we're building back up a lot of the plastics. Plastics is a huge moneymaker. So they're not gonna, I mean, there's moves for them to become more recyclable. I mean, part of it's having the honest conversation with recycling. 3 through 7s, that's a lot of those just either end at the waste to energy facilities or the landfill. There's not much out there. I know there's companies that are trying, and I mean, kind of the word in the industry is somebody at some point is going to figure something out. So we're just, we'll look back on this in 5 years and just be like, oh, wow, how silly were we? But some of this has to deal with the consumer pressures on manufacturers and everything. The other big thing is like the big plastic island that's in the ocean. And how all of our plastic that's where it's going. Well, very little from the United States goes there. We actually do a pretty good job of recycling the stuff that we do domestically. A lot of that stuff is from the third world countries that are still trying to play this game where they purchase materials and they end up just,
dumping them in the ocean.
Rivers and leads to the ocean.
But there is hope for plastics.
So there is hopes. I mean, it's still, I mean, those reports came out and I think it was good because it started the conversation to be more honest.
Yes.
And the only way that we're going to really win this recycle war is through honest conversations and trying to figure out where stuff goes. I mean, that's why our source separated up at the CRC is so successful is, we don't have very big volumes up there, but that stuff is a pretty high percentage of that stuff's getting recycled.
You bet. Good.
And the biggest thing is is, I mean, just this last weekend, again, I'm telling people, just because it has that little recycle symbol on it and says it's recyclable, doesn't mean it can be recycled. And that's I think the biggest thing
Well, yeah,
that
and
needs to be
that's almost,
understood.
I read some, that's more of a marketing thing almost, is that so that we can claim
Yeah,
it's recycled, but you know, yeah.
yeah.
Most educational information, whatever, are going away from the numbers and just going with pictures.
Pictures, right.
So this is what we're looking
Right.
for.
Because you got a lot of ones that come up there, I'm sure, the clamshells that aren't, according to Herman, when I talked to him last, he said that goes into a clump in the melting process and it just messes everything up. And so, with the bottle tops, everything that's got a bottle top on it goes in and it's good recycle, but that clamshell that's got the number
Yeah.
1 on it,
Yeah.
and any of your drinks like this, it's got a 1 on the bottom, they're crap.
Yeah, and that's part of where, and that's where, and if you want, I can forward this guy's, his, and it's just a real quick, PowerPoint
Yeah,
where he just gives, some statistics. I'll forward that to you guys.
that would be
Because
great.
there's just a couple, the statistics kind of refute a little bit of the plastic, but that's a lot where a lot of the bad stuff's coming from, because exactly that says 1, but
Yeah.
that's not getting recycled. So people think that none of the number 1s are getting recycled, when really
Yeah.
one of the biggest recycled plastics is the number 1 bottles.
Right,
And if you can get them to the right place, they
Yes.
do a pretty good job of recycling.
yeah. This cup's 6 months old.
Yeah. So
Reused.
that's
I'm
probably
glad
bad
you
because
said
you're
that.
I know.
probably leaking
I was ready to say,
microplastics.
well, then why? But I got it.
Okay, LJ, before I get attacked.
I don't really have a whole lot. Everybody else has already said everything that I could have said. Just to add a little bit, that part of the bumps in the road with the new software is really due to the archaic system of TerraTrash and trying to do the data transfer. There's a ton of errors that all need to be corrected. Little things like additional periods in the address, or the address not being written correctly, like in a postal code way. Lots of little issues that Nick has done a lot of work on, Savannah's done some work on, Jessica's done some work on, just really helping out a lot, making sure that we can streamline and correct and make sure that data is the way we want it before we upload it into this new system to make sure that it works properly. So that's a lot of what we're working on. And just, billing has always been an issue. So thanks to Jessica for really coming through and helping this last time. We're actually back up to where we should be as far as billing goes on a normal speed, because we were kind of falling behind there with all the issues with TerraTrash. It would take up so much time, and then with Savannah being out this last time, Jessica came in and really pulled it together. So we're back on track, and that's really good. One of the things I did want to also add, as far as like with the drivers, and they'll be having these tablets, is they'll actually be able to take pictures with the tablets and upload it into the trip log, so that if a container is over full, or there's no trash out, or things like that, when we do get calls, then we'll be able to reference that. We can't necessarily put it into their account online, but we can certainly email them a copy of the picture and say, this is our proof of that. So that's going to help with a lot of things. But one of the things that we had today in one of our meetings was about billing, or no, it was an email I got. So for the billing, we got copies of what our invoices, what the past due notices, everything's going to look like. It'll be nice and streamlined. It'll be easy and pretty much automated, rather than like right now, if somebody's past due or we're having to create invoices or a statement, we have to actually pull the information out of TerraTrash, manipulate it, and get it ready to send to the customer. So it's really going to help streamline a lot of things. So
We'll get there.
Yes, use those tablets.
that's been my big project. Just kidding.
Boy, no kidding. 6 month a year project almost, isn't it, Ben? Jessica.
Because I understand.
No problem. Well, thanks for all your hard work. Appreciate it.
It's my dream to streamline this and make it more efficient, so.
So we've got a lot coming up because it is Earth Day. So on Friday, we have been doing a collaborative effort with the city's Moab or City of Moab's Arts and Sustainability Departments, as well as Friends of Arches and Canyonlands Society and the National Parks System to do a Earth Day event. We'll be offering recycling games and an educational booth. And that's at the Mark, Friday, 4 to 6:30. And then Saturday, we have our household hazardous waste collection event, our biannual one. That's going to be at the CRC from 8 to 12. Starting next week on the 24th, running through May 6th, we have our spring voucher program. I'm really glad that we decided to push it back this year rather than hold it at our normal time, because this year has proven to be a bit of a delay. So this is coming at the perfect time when people are starting to work on their gardens and really start getting out. Construction starting to amp up. So I believe we'll have a lot more participants this year. Like Chris said, attended the RCU conference, made some pretty good connections. Also just had a fantastic time at Zion's hiking. What else? Helped LJ with billing, like she said. It was a really good idea for some reason that I decided to learn QuickBooks in that very brief period after our last person left and you came on, else I would not have been able to do it. Yeah, I've just been pretty busy. Also next week, we have our next meeting for the WAG bag discussion. So we'll be seeing how all of that's progressed. And I have also signed up for a 2-day training with the UDQ on our used oil permit.
Great.
That's all I can think of.
Great. Thanks for being willing to step and fetch when we need you.
We need money.
Yeah.
If I could put more dollars in our pocket, I'm gonna do it.
Nick, you're not on the agenda. Do you have anything to add? How are you doing?
Just echoing what LJ said, we're working on that data file, trying to, clean that up and get that ready. So there's stages we got to do on that from our call this morning. So we're just continuing to work on getting that ready.
Great. Thanks for all your hard work.
Oh, you're welcome.
Board reports, Chad. Anything?
Set it up.
Oh, Levi. Oh, I'm sorry.
No love for me whatsoever. I scout
I
it.
thought your story about
He
the.
was hiding, you didn't see him sitting.
I'm small. I'm hard to miss. It's okay.
He's a shrinking violet.
So this month's been quite the challenge for equipment side. We continue to try to hold fast on our aging fleet and keep things going. I would like to give a shout out to our head mechanic over here, Greg Tucker. He's been amazing. Saved us on several tow bills by going out in the field and repairing trucks out on the side of the road. We went out to the interstate and repaired a truck. I mean, he's been staying late, doing great. So let's give a shout out to him.
Right.
We've started fence repair out at Klondike. There's a corners of fence out there that's needed to be repaired for quite some time. So JVC Construction has started that and set posts and should be pulling the mesh and stuff this week. So
At the north fence, or is that?
So this would be the northwest side,
Okay, northwest
that
side,
back
yeah.
corner where they
Right.
come together. That corner's kind of been falling down and
Right. Okay.
stuff. So they're putting all new posts in there and restretching the mesh. So they're the same company that did our fence out over here. So,
Okay, great.
so I'm glad to see that finally got done.
Yeah.
And then, like Mike said, just hunting for new trucks. The world has kind of changed on new trucks. So supply is down and demand is up, which drives prices up. So what used to be $150,000 under CDL truck is now a $200,000. And that's, well, we'll see if you can get it, and you might have to wait a year to get it, kind of thing. So
So used ones aren't available?
everybody who had anything used has held on to anything that was worth a dang, it seems like, and very well used it. So
like we
we,
have.
we're very
Exactly.
afraid of buying a truck that looks like what we have and being in the same boat, so. We tried to go that route and look, but everything that was there had as many hours as ours on it. It was just the amount of money they wanted for those used trucks.
Yeah, they're almost as the same price as a new one, aren't they? I mean, they're just.
I mean, they were cheaper, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you start figuring in,
You bet.
okay, this truck's only got a couple of years left in it, and when I'm gonna spend that money on it, it makes it
Yeah.
maybe not worth so much to spend that, so.
We initially shopped nothing but used. And that's the reason we asked for approval last month, in case we found something we
Yeah.
liked.
Yeah.
But just weighing the options, is it $150,000 Band-Aid, or is it a $200,000 that is a Band-Aid that's gonna last an extra 5 years?
Yeah.
So we've gone back and forth. I mean, we've talked quite a bit about it, trying to figure
Yeah,
out.
we've
what's
we've
best.
hunted far and wide, and a lot of the trucks you find that are, oh, this is a good looking truck, and you call, well, it's back east and it's full of rust and it's got, you know, and so.
Might have been in 3 floods and a tornado. or two.
Yeah, so it seems like, you know, especially when you get to the under CDL
Yeah.
truck, anybody who has those, they know that they're gonna have to wait so long to get them, so they hold on to them and run them to the ground. And so there's nothing there. The little bigger trucks, you can sometimes find
Mhm.
a municipality that's aging them out and getting rid of them, but like you said, when you do the cost analysis on it of, I can run this truck for 5 to 7 years, or I can run this truck for 2 to 3 years.
If
I
you're
might as well-
lucky.
Well, and
Well,
what's it gonna cost to run that
And the
truck?
cost of the repairs alone, I mean, we've seen how much the repairs on our trucks now cost us, and
And
Yeah.
we looked at other options, automated side loaders. Definitely an improvement, definitely an efficiency, definitely safer, but we couldn't use that truck everywhere. We could use it in the city contract. But if you go out to the county route, there's one day that the county route has 45 2-yarders on it.
Right.
So we either convert all those to carts, which is obviously not gonna make everyone happy,
Right.
or we send a second truck right by the same house.
Mhm. Mhm.
So we're looking at this in-depth, long term.
Mhm.
And we finally agreed it was best to look at just getting new ones.
Well, we looked at, you know, it'd be great to step up and go to that side loader and make that move now, but we have so much, you know, we're bleeding so bad on this side, on the other side, that you gotta kind of stop the bleeding before you can step into anything new and go out that route. So
Yeah.
we talked with Mike and Chris, we decided to postpone that
Yeah.
and move forward with kind of the systems we have, but maybe try, you know, that under CDL truck, because that would be a great thing that we could put these drivers we're trying to send through the school into. We could put them in that under CDL truck,
Right.
get them working, get them some experience, put them through the school, then step up and put them in the bigger trucks.
Right.
So,
Right. Well, quality is key right now. You know, you're right. I think it's better to spend the extra 50, 100,000 and get the right trucks.
but it's crazy the way you know, and all my manufacturer guys say that there's no reason they can't build these trucks. They're just not, because they're getting more out of them and producing less. So
The market.
but that's all I have for us.
So no electric trucks in the future, huh? Gosh.
Chris went and found one, buddy. He seemed to
thought it
think
was
it was a little bit
natural gas.
pricey.
Gotta get our substation put in for
I know.
a charging station.
That's right. Get your.
They're working on it. It's in her plan.
Yeah, well, yeah, Rocky Mountain, we can apply for it. Put one here.
That's right.
I was all about it, except for the fact that none of my mechanics can work on it, and the
know.
fact that
we'd already talked to someone.
the
about solar
price, the
panels.
initial price, even at 50% off, was,
Pretty expensive.
yeah, we could either get 2 trucks or you could get 1 truck.
But
hard
you
to-
get those CIB grants coming in.
It's a possibility. There's a lot of people, just like the EPA grant, there's a lot of people
Yes.
going, hey, over here.
Yeah.
But at least we're on the list, so we'll see what can happen.
Yeah, so
I saw the new electric Mustang the other day. Oh my, up close and personal. That is an amazing little vehicle, man. And it goes. It's fast.
They are making advancements super fast.
I don't know. I'm a Mustang fan.
Oh, it's a beauty, boy. It's
Mm.
little hatchback and man, it is just
Okay,
quick.
let's talk something other than trucks.
We're not talking trucks.
Yeah, no Twitter's muscle.
This is what I showed to people and had copies of it at the presentation. And I woke up the first of this year and, people might go, well, what the heck is she doing? Why is she doing this? But I made myself a New Year's resolution that I was going to help us educate the public. And how's that done? There's several ways. But at the cleanup, I wanted to bring awareness to the ways we can recycle, because we need to be able to be clear with students. How can we recycle? One of them is,
Which one would you like first?
oh, this one's easy. One of them, actually, so these are displayed at the same time. And if you could move this out of the way, this is one way you can recycle. And you guys are gonna hate me when I'm going for more than one reason, but I painted this blue on the bottom and it now is,
Shedding, huh?
it sheds. But this is, well, let me.
The tube.
Tell them why you painted it blue.
Well, no, I want them to figure it out. You have to figure it out, remember?
I didn't.
It's a blue,
So,
blue sky.
so here is one way to recycle.
Yeah.
And then right beside it is the other way to recycle.
Uh-huh.
This is obviously the, it
Glass.
didn't belong in there.
Oh,
Anyway, this is the source separated.
The other one's
Ah, very
Single
good.
stream, right?
And so
It's
this
blue because
is-
It's a stream.
Bingo! Howard him. And this, it's got the same stuff in it minus the glass. I didn't put any glass in it, but this, it's once. I did this because I was having an issue with trying to keep straight exactly what the two look like, and this is pretty clear. But so we had this, I had help in Castle Valley, my mechanic in Castle Valley helped me put this together. These are repurposed. They came off of a new construction house out in Castle Valley, and this woman's got all this wood and all this stuff. And I woke up the next morning going, I know what I want to do with some of those buckets. And so that's what we did. And so I guess you're wondering, well, what are we going to do with it? What are you going to do with this stuff? So I reached out and have been truly hopeful with USU. Again, Rosalind McCain emailed me to say that, oh, Diane, when I talked to her a little bit about that last time, I was talking about maybe something like the trails ambassadors. We could have a recycler ambassadors. Well, Rosalind McCain came back to say, well, USU already has master recyclers like they do master gardeners. And she said that they're going to be hiring a new person in the 4-H home economics, whatever category there is here. And she said, you need to contact them and let them know. I get an email the next day going, oh, Diane, I forgot. They already hired her. So you should soon contact her. I contacted her within a couple of hours. I haven't heard anything back. But, if I don't hear in another week or so, I'm going to go, hello, did you get this? Then I also reached out to I think there's a Grant County Education Association or something. Kaylin was the one that gave me the information to contact them, and they got back to me within a couple of days, and they have a community coordinator that I was inquiring. I go, do you know what's being taught in schools with recycling? And this community coordinator comes back with a whole page of every contact and maybe two people at each school reported that when freshmen come into the middle school, they get to do this. I guess that's their initiation. I don't know. I haven't even contacted any of these people because I really wanted to talk to this woman first and then go to them saying, look, this is a new program. But what I did learn, and pretty significant, is that it's the elementary school, HMK, that doesn't seem to have any recycling, not recycling education, not recycling. So to me, this is where this would fit in with kids anyway, little kids, young kids. So I thought, well, we could make several of these, and you could have one in your backyard, and I could have one in mine, and maybe we could get these ambassadors to go out and do some of this work. we could put those ambassadors to work right away. I don't have any problem with that. So that's kind of what I've been coming up with and trying to just think about how can we inculcate our community to get more things up at the CRC and if need be, out the door in the single stream, you know? A friend of mine in Castle Valley moved from Wisconsin and she learned from me the 2 ways to recycle here and she's got a single stream thing that I think she's given second thoughts about. But anyway, that's all I have, except I wanted to ask, on Saturday, I plan to bring a bucket of household hazardous waste that I acquired at the cleanup. And I wondered if there'd be any way that that bucket, it could be, you know, dealt with our household hazardous waste stuff that's gonna be there this weekend.
Well, I mean, it's open to any residents of the county to bring in.
So they take a lot of these are the spray cans, but they're not empty. They just lost their psh, so they don't psh, and they're full of stuff.
That most of that qualifies, yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna be there Saturday. I started pulling weeds today in the garden and oh my God, I'll be back Saturday.
Well, thanks, Diane. I love your single stream.
Yeah, I was like, I'm like, oh, of course, it's a stream.
Why is it blue? He goes, I'm going, well, it's a stream.
Well, you're keeping it out of the stream, which is very good.
Well,
Yes, out of the streams, definitely.
Very good.
And
I thought this might be the ocean garbage patch, but that's what people are first.
but anyway, yeah, I gotta get that.
Well, thank you for going. I mean, you're doing this all on your own. So, I mean, your own time, your own efforts. So,
Well, it helps
Thank
me
you for
sleep at
taking it.
night. I mean, you know, it makes me feel better that I'm making, you know, an attempt at something that, you know, I don't feel we do a very good job right now. I don't think we do, you know, and so I just thought, gosh, we gotta start, we gotta do something. And,
Yeah, a program in the elementary at, you know, at HMK is where we need to have the program, because you teach those kids to get excited about recycling there, and they'll carry all the way through the high school,
oh
so.
my
well,
gosh, my friend in Castle Valley comes to me, she goes, Diane, she says, I was talking to a new insurance woman friend of mine, and she was telling me about her little kid came home and said, mommy, we gotta recycle. And I'm going, find out where that kid goes to school.
Yeah.
They just moved from Colorado.
you're absolutely right, Kevin. 5th grade is the year
Yes.
that the experts, education experts say that's when it sticks and it changes their
The
behavior. in
5th grade,
future.
the
Yeah.
5th grade, okay, that'd be, I think that's HMK. and-
Yeah, that's HMK.
Yep.
Well, so, you know, like I say, if we can get USU on board with that, and then, it can probably then, you know, make sure that what I think is happening in the other 2 schools, and we could concentrate on the elementary schools,
Right.
which is something as simple as this. I mean, you
Yeah,
know, gosh. It's
Oh,
not
yeah.
rocket science, thank God.
Well, thank you, Diane.
You're welcome.
Anything, Chad, you got?
No, well, I do have real quick, I think like you and I talked about maybe having some sort of like workshop kind of thing where like the board can go and see the landfill or the CRC or the transfer station. Just want to remind you that I'd like to do that still.
I think it's a good idea. I don't know if we can get to all of them in one shot.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely take it.
probably like maybe before a board meeting, we visit one of the sites or something. You know, and we,
So
over
it'd be
the course
several,
of the next few
yeah.
months.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
You know, maybe before it gets scorching, rather than not stand around it more like landfill, but in July.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
something like that.
probably a good idea.
You gotta get the full effect. You gotta wait till biosolid comes out.
When it's most odoriferous, I think is when we should go.
Yes.
Yes.
One other thing, Levi, you mentioned, you give kudos to your mechanic. Just to put the reminder out there, we talked about like things for the whole staff. I think those things are really important. So maybe some sort of summer picnic we should be planning. Maybe even start thinking about like a Christmas party. We haven't had one of those for a few years because of the pandemic and stuff, but
Well, we did do that bowling alley thing.
yes.
Yes,
yeah,
that was
and
great.
That was a good.
And then recently the staff got mugs so that
Oh, cool.
Cool.
they can recycle and
Good.
drink out of
Nice.
mugs instead of,
Where's the boards mugs?
They got
but
6-week-old plastic. They're fine.
that's fine. It's probably been sitting in your vehicle heating up and all that.
I know, I've got so much, what do they call
All
it?
the forever chemicals.
Yeah.
that you
Yeah,
ingested
so
years,
cool.
months ago.
Well, it holds ice really well. That's why I like it. So,
And we did look at trying to do something this Christmas, but it just wasn't
yeah.
Right.
in the cards.
I
So,
get it, but it's, those are the kind of things that can easily slip by if we start thinking about it ahead of time. Because I'd like to meet that mechanic, thinking personally, so those are kind
you
of.
can
risks.
always swing by.
I
And
know,
he
I
does
guess.
like sausage, egg McMuffins.
I take the hint, but
No, it does mean a lot to these guys to, some of them,
Yeah.
they know you guys come to the board meetings, but they don't know, so. Anytime you guys interact with staff, I mean, I hear about it.
Good, good.
I was up at the CRC today and I was over there, but there was this Siswa truck sitting there and it was a guy unloading stuff and I couldn't hear for sure, but I thought that truck was running. I was there 15 minutes and that truck was running. And then I walked down there with a full bag of garbage to put away and they're inside there and I said, and it was then parked now in front of the double door, the thing there, and it's running and they're in there. I'm going, that truck out there running, I go, whose is it? Anyway, I said, it's not diesel and it's not winter. I don't quite understand why it has to be running and no wonder our fuel bills are so. That guy goes, you're right. So he goes out and cuts it off, but I'm like, Jesus, I couldn't believe it. I don't get it, but I was kind, I wasn't ugly, but I was to the point and I'm going. So who knows?
Feels expensive.
Yes, it is.
That's something you might want to run by people and because USU is talking in the newspaper about, we might think we don't have air like Salt Lake City, but we can have air like Salt Lake City and doing that kind of crap
Yeah.
ain't the thing to do.
Yeah.
Winter, summer, spring or fall.
Most of our trucks now that have the motive system in it actually will send us an alert if they're running for longer than 15 minutes
Oh,
as well.
nice.
If they're idling.
If they're idling, yeah. Sorry, not if they're running. We don't want them shutting off driving down the road, but if they're parked idling,
15 minutes is the
kind of
cutoff.
that's where they'll send the alert. Yeah, we can make that shorter and stuff, but that usually makes, because they'll come in after the truck is hot and they'll let the truck cool down
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So that's on all of our big diesel trucks and everything have
Yeah,
that.
this
so.
wasn't a diesel. This was just.
No, that truck, I know which truck you're talking about. That truck is not equipped with one of those systems because
No,
it's one of our older
he was
trucks.
a nice enough guy and stuff, but and I just was kind of walking through, just mentioning, I wasn't down his throat or anything, but I thought, wow, this is something that should be conveyed to these people, they're just not aware of it, maybe, I don't know.
I was up to the landfill today at Moab landfill 3 days ago. I cleaned out an old cave down by the Rocklands area down there that had a bunch of crap in it, an old bunch of mattresses and, just stuff sitting out on the road there going to the Rockland. So my wife and I went down and grabbed it all and brought it up. But I just want to say the landfill up there looks really good, man. You guys have got it looking great up there, Adam and whoever else is up there, thanks for all the work you do up there and stuff. And it was sad. I had to throw a mattress out of this cave and out comes this pack rat having babies. I didn't feel too bad for too long, but for a minute I went, oh, having a baby right there, aren't you? Sorry about that, dude. But
The other thing, it was really refreshing to see Sarah join us tonight.
yes.
Her heart is in it and my heart is in it and we just haven't been able to work together. So she's doing her thing and I'm just happy that she's, talking to us again.
Any old business we need to look at besides broken equipment and changing over our whole billing system? New business? Nothing right now? Future considerations, draft budget for cash flow for facilities. I think we kind of talked about that, PTIF and acquisition fund, and then a new regularly scheduled meeting for the ACB is set for Wednesday, May 17th, 2023. And we have come to the end of our agenda. I will close this meeting at 5:27.
All right, thanks.
Thank you all for being here.
Thank you all.
Excellent, excellent meeting. Good job.